Hey there, Gavin here from UltimateReloader.com. Around SHOT Show, I promised you all that I would bring you the first videos on the new Lyman Brass Smith lineup of reloading presses. It's taken a little bit longer. I apologize for that, but here it is. I've got my Lyman Brass Smith Ideal here. This is cast iron single stage press. It's the sort of entry-level press in this 3-press lineup. As soon as I get the other presses, I'm going to be bringing you all content on those as well. I just got my inline fabrication mounting plate, so what I thought we would do in this video is do a quick unboxing. We're going to get it set up. We're going to try it out. We're going to see what we think. This is a really great press. So let's dig in. And again, I haven't seen this yet. You guys are seeing this with me for the very first time, and I am excited. It's not every day a new reloading press gets introduced. So we've got the instruction guide. Okay, a general instruction guide. The first one was for the presses, second is general. And there she is. A little bit of packing material on the top. Look at that. Wow, the machining on the ram is really nice. Okay. We've got a little bit of assembly to do, it looks like. We've got a primer catcher there, ambidextrous handle. It's center mounted so that you don't have to worry about its orientation. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick look at the instruction guide. We're going to get the press put together and mounted on the inline fabrication ultra mount, and I will be right back. Okay, so I got everything unpacked and I know what I need to do to assemble this press, and all we need is the knife that we used for the unboxing to cut the thread locker tube, and we need a 3/4 inch combination wrench to tighten the press handle nut down. Now there's just a couple things here that we need to do before we mount this on the inline fabrication mount. We gotta flip these around, and then we're gonna make sure that the threads for the handle and the milled surface here where the handle seats down is pointing up in general, and then we're going to align our linkage plates so that we can install the shoulder bolts. I'm just going to cut my thread locker here, and we're just going to use just a little drop here on each of these, a couple drops, and I'm also going to grab some moly grease, some molybdenum grease, because this is kind of a, let me get this down here. This is kind of a one-time deal with the thread locker, and I just want to make sure that we have an appropriate amount of lube. So we're going to grab that. It's going to give a little dab on each of the shoulders here. That should last real nicely. Okay. All right, so what we need to do now is install the shoulder bolts, and the press is supplied with the appropriate hex wrench, and we want to work kind of quickly with this. Make sure that we're not bound up. Yeah, that feels good. Hence the shoulder. It's gonna tighten down and not clamp the plate to the press frame, because of course it needs to freely rotate. We've got the other side here. This was basically collapsed down for packaging purposes to make it into a smaller package, and by flipping things around here we get it into the orientation that we're going to need the press to be in for it to operate. Okay, I'm going to apply a couple drops of oil to the ram. Next is the press handle itself. We're going to spin the nut on. Again, this uses a 3/4 inch combination wrench. Open end is really what you want here. We're just going to go ahead and thread that in. And what I'm looking for is that I have most of the threads in the press, just so that there's a good amount of meat so that we have good level of support, okay? And then we're just gonna finish that off by snugging down this with the 3/4 inch wrench. Okay, so the press is now assembled. The next steps are going to be for me to go through the process of mounting this Lyman Ideal to the quick change top plate that I use for the inline fabrication ultra mount. This is a great system because you can really quickly swap one press for another, and I can swap all 3 of my Lyman Brass Smith presses once I get them all and get them all set up with the same stand. Okay, so I got the inline fabrication ultra mount attached to the Ultimate Reloader bench here. I'm using the Ultimate Reloader hold down clamps, more info on that shortly. And then I've got the Ideal Brass Smith press attached to the quick change top plate. We just drop this in, careful to align the studs. Actually, we have to remove the stud protectors here. And they will drop right down through. And then we just have a couple wing nuts that we tighten. And we will be good to go. Okay, so there's the press. Let's go ahead and set up a sizing die and do some sizing. So now that we're all assembled, we're mounted, we've got this press mounted to the inline fabrication ultra mount, we are ready to try it out. But before that, I want to walk through some of the features and give you an overview. So the Lyman Brass Smith Ideal is their entry-level press in the lineup, but it's got a lot of great features and quality of construction. Cast iron frame, machined really nicely. I noticed that when I was putting it together. It's got heavy-duty steel linkage. It's got a standard 7/8 by 14 threaded head on it. So you're going to be able to use any of the standard dies that you have in your setup, with the exception of something specialty like Dillon Square Deal B dies, which are proprietary. It accepts standard shell holders. I've got a number 1 shell holder in here for 6.5 Creedmoor, which I'm going to show in just a second. It's got a short stroke. It's got the central mounted ambidextrous handle, and it's going to be able to load cartridges up to 3.7 inches in length. So I think this is the ideal press to have set up for a particular operation, like sizing military brass, or like depriming, or whatever it is, swaging bullets that you need to do hard cast loading with, that kind of thing. This press is going to handle pretty much anything that you need to throw at it. I also installed the included primer catcher there. So let's do a demo with 6.5 Creedmoor. I've been doing a lot of 6.5 Creedmoor loading lately, so I thought it would be a good impression and a comparison to make. And so I'm going to start with a sizer deprimer die. And what we're going to do is just start that into the press, raise the ram, screw this down until we're contacting the shell holder. And in a realistic scenario, we're going to want to check our sized brass with a case gauge. But here we go. We're going to take a piece of brass here that I've already lubed up, size and deprime. So I can tell right away that's a much shorter stroke compared to what I'm used to. And that means that it's going to be quick acting. Looks like I just got to get my body into the right position. I would probably mount this press just a little bit lower, so I'd use the inline fabrication micro ultra mount that I've got, because I think that would put my arm in a better position for this kind of action. But it works really well, and the short stroke is going to be perfect for handgun scenarios or anything where fast action is advantageous. So that's our sizing. The sizing felt good, consistent. We're going to back that die out and install our bullet seater. This die, what we're going to want to do is put a case in, raise the ram. We lower this Hornady seater until it starts to touch, and we don't want it to crimp, so we're going to back off a complete turn and then lock it down. Take our reference cartridge. This is the one that we want to replicate. It's got the right bullet, same bullet we're using here, 140 grain ELD match. It's seated to the proper depth. We're going to back off the seating plug, raise that up, and back it down plus about 3/1000ths, just to take up the slack and how things are going to compress when we actually seat a bullet. Put one of our sized cases into the press. Whoops. Insert a bullet. Wow, very, very slick. So there's our bullet. What we'd want to do, seated in the case, is use a comparator to compare the precise relative seating depths based on the ogive as the reference. I'm going to go through this a couple more times. I really like the short stroke for the bullet seating. That just feels really quick, and like that would be a good dedicated station, would be a bullet seating setup. All right, let's do one more here. I love that. That's a great bullet seating press. So there you have it. Just getting started with the Ideal press. I'm also going to have the All-American 8-station turret press, and I'm going to have the Victory single-stage press. So you're going to want to stay tuned for the complete lineup. So far, doing really well with the Ideal. If you don't want to miss any of the videos here on GavintooB, please subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, by all means, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to support Ultimate Reloader, you can buy one of these cool shirts by going to ultimatereloader.com/store. Finally, you can go to patreon.com/ultimatereloader and make a pledge. Every bit helps. Really appreciate you all, the community. And until next time, happy shooting and happy reloading.